all love. All love, holy, holy. All love, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is one. Holy, holy, all good. All good, all good. Holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind and my heart and my soul. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy. Good evening. Don't be afraid to clap. Come on. Thank you, Linda. That's awesome. Welcome to Kitchen Conversations. And yes, we have some live beings in the house tonight. Woo, 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 woo. As we say hello to our virtual family as well, thank you for being there. Thank each of you for being here. Tonight we have an amazing night planned for you. And what we always like to do here at Kitchen Conversations is bless the evening. So let us get ready to bless this dynamic time and space together, to be in this place as we take the breath. We take this breath and let the day go. We rest in this moment, for this moment is all that there is. This moment is the divine magnificence showing up as each one of us. And the beauty of our differences, the beauty of our essence, the beauty of the human being angels that are each and every one of us, as we show up and show out and stand in this space of divine love. For as we know, what Universal Spirit Center is a global expansion of love, of light, of divine harmony and equality for all. We allow that light to go around the entire world and globe, feeling this fire of divine magnificence right here, right now. So we know that this path is paved, whether you're watching us live right now or whether you join in later. The divine light of love is right here, and it is expressing in and through each of us. So as we take this breath, the call this evening is equality, is awakening, is understanding that none of us are free if one of us is still enslaved. And so it is. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you better listen, my sisters and brothers, 'cause if you do, you will hear the voices that are calling across the years. And they're crying across the ocean, and we're crying across the land. Will till we all understand that none of us are free us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, none of us are free. Oh, there are people in the darkness, and they just won't see the light. If you don't say that it's wrong, that says it's right. Oh, we got to give to one another and show our brothers that we care. Get the message out, send it loud and clear, that none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us is changed, none of us are free. 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 If one of us isn't changed, don't you know we can't be free. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Linda Ely on piano. Thank you, Linda. Whoop, whoop. Oh, yeah, I love that song. Dormini picked that song for our theme song. I know, beautiful song. So let's get into the night. Let me introduce the panel. And Naive Abuzudarhi. Naviv. I'm so worried about the last name. I just yeah. Naviv Abuzudahi. What is it? Naviv.
Nuveen Abu Zahida.
Nuveen with the N. Nuveen. Thank you for being here after I just killed your name 4 or 5 times. 4 or 5 times. At least I was consistent. But thank you so much for being here. We also have Devorah Marcus. Thank you very much. And we have Hennessy B. Livingston. Beautiful. And our one and only that you know, our moderator today is Carolyn Floyd from our Racial Equality Project. As we've come together, Carolyn wanted to create this kind of vagina monologues gathering. And all right, thank you. Thank you. So tonight we have stories of racism. And I'm really excited to have you all here and have you there as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Carolyn and get this party started.
First of all, to the ladies on the stage, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful you said yes. And I really look forward to this evening. So thank you very much. So we'll just start. I was going to pick on Devorah first. Yes, if you'll come up to the mic. And this is a question I have all of you start with. Just tell us your story of racism.
Okay. Well, I'm Devorah Marcus. Hi. I grew up in Orange County and I'm now blessed to live in San Diego. I've lived in a lot of places in the world. And so I think there's 2 conversations for me as a person. The first is that growing up in Orange County, in many places and spaces, America's racism is really based on melanin and the perceptions that people attach to us based on the shade of our skin and our skin tone. So I am a person who passes as white in America, and I look super washed out on the screen, so I'm really white right now. I'm glowy white. So I didn't experience American-based racism myself growing up, but and I shared this story with my community recently, actually almost a year ago now. Where's the time gone? That when I was around 8 years old, we were in fellowship at a house of worship, and we had friends there who were from Persia, as they like to say, and our friends were sharing with us that they had just gotten back from a fabulous vacation, and they had gone to Hawaii, and they were telling us all about Hawaii. And then when we sat down, I said to my father, and I think really only 8 years old, I said to my father, "It's so nice that they were able to go on that vacation." And my dad looked at me and said, "It is nice. Why do you think it's nice?" And then I turned red, and I was confused because I didn't understand why he didn't understand what I was saying, and I immediately sensed that I was somehow thinking something wrong. And I said, "Well, because they don't have a lot of money." And my dad started laughing and said, "I only hope one day I can be as poor as they are." Because it was a family who actually had a great deal of wealth, and I was from a family that did not have a great deal of wealth. And somehow, by the age of 8 years old, I had absorbed from my society, never a message from my parents, as obviously you can tell, my parents mocked me openly and appropriately for having inherited melanin-based prejudice as an American child, that I perceived that because they had darker skin, that they were of a lower socioeconomic status. How does an 8-year-old come to learn that with parents who don't live that or teach that in the home? I still have no idea where I got this idea from. I don't know if it was television. I don't know if it was movies. I don't know if it was just casual, my own childlike casual perceptions, but I perceived that people with darker skin had a lower socioeconomic income. And so I share this story because I think it's important for all of us to understand and to recognize in ourselves how much melanin-based racism is America's original sin, and how much it is permeated and a part of our society, so much so that an 8-year-old would pick up on the social subtle messaging and have no idea where it comes from. To this day, I have no idea where that came from. Now, I will share a different kind of prejudice that's not melanin-based racism that I have grown up with and experienced a number of times over, and that is anti-Semitism, because I am Jewish. And I grew up in a part of Orange County where there was a huge amount of acceptance of me as a Jew, but there were also a huge amount of prejudice towards me as a Jew. I would receive nasty comments. I was told at a young age that I murdered Jesus, that my people were an ugly people, a selfish people, a cruel people, a money-hoarding people. I mean, we can go on and on. I don't need to repeat the list for everyone. But it was made very clear to me growing up in white Orange County, where I grew up, that I was not considered a part of white people. That was a different group of people, and they were special in ways that I was told that I wasn't. And so I understood myself to be a minority, even though I didn't really understand why I was, other than my teachers were super irritated with me every year at Christmas and Easter, because, we have to include a Hanukkah song in the Christmas concert. And, I know, yes, little Devorah, you need something special done for you can't do an Easter egg. No, I like painting Easter eggs. No, I don't want your parents getting mad at me. I don't know that my parents ever got mad at a teacher, but it was, a fear that the teachers carried. So I was always selected out. I was always made to feel different. I was always made to feel less than. And let's be honest, all of the Christmas music is amazing, and the Hanukkah songs that we sang at elementary school were terrible. So not only was I made to feel different and othered, but it was like with really bad music. And it was hurtful in a way that I still haven't quite gotten over. I'm still working on that one, especially since some of the best Christmas songs were written by Jews. I'm like, you guys couldn't throw one to your own people? Hello, Irving Berlin, make us a little something nice. So, and now as an adult, as a community member, I've been going through a process in the last 2 years of what does it mean for me as a Jewish woman to understand that I need to accept my whiteness, because I never identified as white growing up. I would always say on forms, I would fill out other for race. And that in and of itself, I believe race to be a BS 20th century construct that's designed to categorize people based on the external expression of God's infinite creativity rather than anything of who you are. And this idea was expressed beautifully in the wonderful play that everyone should see, A Free Man of Color, that was done at the Lincoln Center a number of years ago. Most Def was in it. It was fabulous. I got to see it. It was awesome. I think it's probably on KPBS. If you pledge enough, they'll send you a copy. But in this, we're living in America, and because this is America's prejudice, is melanin-based racism, I've gone through my own internal dialogue of what it means to accept my whiteness and to be comfortable saying, I understand that I am a minority and that I am Jewish and that my ancestral heritage is from the Middle East, from the Levant, from Israel, from our shared homeland of Israel, Palestine. And at the same time, here in America, when I walk out into the world, I don't have the same kinds of experiences that other people have, and that's because I pass as white. Because no one looks at me and thinks that I'm a person of Middle Eastern heritage, except when I am anywhere traveling around the Mediterranean, and then if I'm in Italy, people think I'm Italian. If I'm in Spain, they think I'm Spanish. If I'm in Israel, they think I'm an Israeli. And if my Hebrew isn't good enough, they ask if I'm Lebanese. So that's been a fun experience. But that's been my own journey. And it's been a sometimes painful process, but I'm glad that I've gone through the wrestling with it, because unless we learn to confront our own biases, our own questions of our identity in ourselves, and accept the responsibility of what it means to say that we're white in America today, and how much convenience that provides for us that other people do not have, let alone protection from harm, then we can't begin to address racism in America. And so that's been my own journey that I've been on, and that's my own personal story with racism to start it off.
Before I ask any follow-up questions, does anybody in the audience have a question? We've set up a microphone.
My question is, the word minority gets really thrown around, and for me, I've moved into this space where as long as we keep this word minority in the conversation, that keeps a separation. So for you, in accepting your whiteness, do you see yourself as equal, or are there times that you still see yourself as this minority that's trying to be?
That's a really great question, Gino.
I'm pretty good at questions.
I think in many ways I still see myself as a minority who's trying to be. I understand and I recognize the protection that my passing as white gives me in certain places and spaces, and unexpected places and spaces. And at the same time, as a modern Jewish woman who's in a liberal religious community, it's not standard in my community to wear a head covering for women. I have friends who are Orthodox who do, and they are much more easily identified as Jews when they're out in public. And Naveen here is, she walks around every day with her head covered, so she's easily identified as a Muslim woman. And that immediately exposes her for extra harassment or targeting by awful people and racist, prejudiced, biased, sick in the head people. And I could wear a kippah every day. I wear a kippah when I'm engaged in my religious activities at my synagogue, which is the small skull cap. But even then I don't necessarily wear it, because I've had so many experiences overseas and in other places in Israel where I was accosted for being a liberal religious woman who was wearing a kippah. I was seen as being offensive to people in Orthodoxy. And there's many Orthodox people who don't care, and there's some Orthodox people who react the same way that they do to seeing a woman in a hijab, or to seeing a person with dark melanin who they hurl racial slurs and insults and violence towards. And so I wish I was more in a place of daily courage where I felt like it was okay to wear the kippah and to have the emotional energy to deal with the response to that. And then also, and I was sharing with a few of the ladies earlier that I find that as a woman, when I'm in conversations, we tend to assume that other people share our prejudices. So when people find out I'm a Jewish woman, depending on what their own perception of Jews or Judaism is. This week is a perfect example. It's been a terrible week. And people will say things to me assuming that I share their prejudice. So I've had some people say some terrible things about Palestinians and Muslims to me, which I do not agree with at all. And I've had some people say some terrible things about Israelis and Israel to me, which I do not agree with at all. I like to be an equal opportunity offender. And so always feeling like, you know, and I mean, I think this is part of what it means to engage in sacred conversation, is to approach all of our conversations where we don't make assumptions about people. I don't know if I'm meeting someone who passes as white if they're Muslim. I don't know if I'm meeting someone who appears to be an American of African heritage if they're descended from slaves, or maybe they're first-generation immigrant from Haiti or Jamaica. I don't know their story. And we make so many assumptions about people, and that's what inherent bias is all about. So I feel like as a minority, I do recognize that I'm privileged sometimes to get to make the decision about how much to disclose about myself or not. And that's a place of privilege to be in. So I think it's both. I think I recognize and accept and acknowledge and try to work against the privilege part. And I think I also am still trying to always, you know, what do you do when you have a friend who posts that all Jews are X, Y, or Z? And you're like, really? But I'm Jewish and I'm your friend and you feel comfortable posting that? Oh, I don't mean you. You know, yeah, you're different. You're the exception to the rule. I'm like, no, I'm pretty typical. So I think it's both. And we just live in that mishmash. Yeah.
So could you reveal, or could you tell everybody what you do for a living?
Yes, I do professional balloon characters. I'm kidding. I'm a rabbi. I always want to have like a better answer than I'm a rabbi. Because like on an airplane, when people are like, what do you do? I'm like, I don't want to get into it. But yes, for tonight. So I am a rabbi. I'm the senior rabbi of Temple Emmanuel, which is right over in Del Cerro, right off the 8 freeway. And yesterday was my 13th rabbiversary, so it's been 13 years since I was ordained as a rabbi. Thank you very much. So I've been a rabbi for 13 years, and that's what I do full time. I teach, I give sermons, I lecture, I come to amazing things like this. I hang out with cool people and get to call it work. And
Well, we're blessed to have you tonight, and thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, Naveen, come on up. Do we need to?
Hi. I would like to start with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It means peace on you all. It's my first time here. I would like to thank you all to have me as a guest. For my story, I have 2 stories. One of them, first of all, I come to USA 3 years ago. So I come here because it's a freedom, and they are free here, and I can live peace. And I'm so happy to be here and to have, for sure, I meet a lot of friends, good friends, but I face sometimes problem with some people. One time I was driving on highway on peace, and there is a guy with the other car. They try to come to me and they make a sign, bad sign, and they speak bad to me. I didn't do anything for them just because I wear hijab. And they keep follow me all over the highway, and they tried to flip me. Yeah. Thanks God, I stopped and they ran away. I cannot do anything at that time. They scared me, but it's okay, I'm here. Second time, I was in the mall, one of shopping mall, with my cousin and kids. And there's a lady. We are walking as all of people there and drinking coffee, talking, and she just passed away from me. And because I wear hijab, she keeps saying, go back from where you come from, and you don't have to stay here. And she starts saying bad words for me and for my cousin. And we have kids. I just look at her like this, and I say, thank you. She feel like she's angry. She's super angry. And she come after me, and she's shouting. I told her, you are sick. You need to go to doctor. Something wrong. Yeah, but she scared me, and she scared the kids. Yeah. To be honest, I'm happy here. I come with my husband with a plan to stay here. Whatever happen will never stop our plan. We are happy and we're proud we are here. We come from Middle East. There is a lot of problem there, you know all. And we feel peace. Okay, there's some problem with some people, but we are happy. We're proud we are here. That's all what happened with me here in 3 years. That's enough.
I know from talking with you that you've traveled a lot of places that I would love to go. As far as the other Western countries, did you get a similar reaction from them, or is to what you feel in America?
Yeah. To be honest, I go to Europe a lot. The only country I feel like here, or there is some people, they treated me like, because I wear hijab in bad way, in Spain. Yeah, to be honest. France, I didn't face any problem in France, but Spain, yeah. Yeah, there are. Because I wear hijab, that's it. Yeah.
Would anybody in the audience, do you have a question?
Nice to meet you.
So we stand in solidarity with you, right? Personally, I mean, I don't know anybody personally that is Muslim, but I stand with you. So from your perspective, what can I do as a human being who loves another human being, to show solidarity and stand with you? What's a good way that you could see us stand with you each and every day?
So how he can help me. Yeah.
How America.
Thank you. First of all, as I respect every people, I respect you as you are, and respect you as you are. I don't care you are Muslim, you are Christian, you are Jewish, or wherever you are. You have to respect me as I am, because we are human. So, okay, I cover myself, but when I talk to you, we talk mind to mind. I don't care what you wear. Maybe you wear short, or you wear long, or you don't wear anything. I don't care. I care how you respect me. I will respect you. How your mind is, how we talk together, what we share together. So not what you look like. In our Islam, we said there's no difference between black and white, long and short. Everyone is the same, equal. We are different in how we think, how we act, not how we look like. So to help me, I would love if understand what hijab means, and then you. Hijab, first of all, God ask the woman after we grow up and 10 years old to cover completely, because woman is attractive. So if I am without hijab, I will be more attractive with hijab. So the men, they will follow me. So there is something wrong maybe will happen. So that's why we are covered. Yeah, so because my hair may be attractive. It's for sure attractive.
And I think this, I've seen a picture, it is. So here's a common misconception. Does your husband make you cover your hair, or do you do that on your own?
When I get married, I already covered.
Right.
And my dad, he didn't ask me. I covered myself.
Right.
I covered when I was maybe 35 years old. Oh yeah. And I have cousins, they are not covered. It's okay. We respect that. Yeah. Any question? Thank you. Thank you.
All right. All right, Hennessy, it's your turn. Now we're gonna need some help with the mic.
Hi. My name is Tennessee Livingston. I'm a San Diego native. I've never left California, so I've been here all my life. So growing up, I grew up in Southeast San Diego, a more like African American dominated area. And so I never experienced racism until 6th grade camp. And this is when my family and I, we grew up homeless, so I kind of moved everywhere. And so 6th grade camp was my first experience, and I was called the N-word by this little cherry cheek little girl. And it didn't affect me because I was just like, what? I was still young, I didn't realize how, I only knew what they taught in school, and I didn't experience this outside of school in my community. So it was something that I never really had to look at, And so I remember that, and I went home, and I talked to my parents about it, and then that started the lesson. Shortly after that, we moved to East County, and back then, it was not very migrated as it is now. And I went to a high school out there, and I remember my freshman year, and it was horrible. It was horrible. I was chased after school. I was called so many names. It was literally a daily struggle for the whole year. And I remember everybody else that looked like me, we can all fit in one small little classroom. And so it was a struggle to have that, And that's when my first okay, this is a problem. Who I am and the color of my skin is a problem. After that, I kind of grew into my own self, and have my own experiences with it as an adult. And for me, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words were never heard, And that's the motto that stuck with me throughout my whole life. It's just at this point, I feel if I get called an inappropriate word based off my skin, I'm like, girl, that's so old now, find something new, And it's just because if only I can allow it to hold weight and hold measure with me, and I refuse to do that. Unfortunately, so as I've gotten older, I've traveled a little bit within California, and Orange County, with emphasis on Irvine, is not a friendly place. I was actually told by people who worked some individuals who work for Orange County, that my skin color and my type of people was not allowed or welcomed there. And that's when I realized there's still modern day racism to this day, you know, look in the news. I have a few friends of mine who I discovered their racism through politics and world events, and we were talking just where we stood in our beliefs on things. And good friend of mine, like loved him, his family, loved me, good friend. But I've realized that when he's angry, he finds it acceptable to say the N-word. Or when he's, with the whole, you know, Black Lives Matter, he is, does not agree, which I am able to understand politics and friendships is a struggle. But I'm able to I may not agree, but because I respect you, I'm able to respect your viewpoint and leave it at that, you know? But it's not okay. It's not. And I'm just like, how can you say something that's meant to hurt me or be derogatory towards me, but still love me and be my friend, you know? And that was one of the hardest things for me to deal with and overcome. And it sucks because it's modern day. And unfortunately, it's not, you know, shackles and chains and whips, but it's still there. You know, if I walk, I've realized, this is at Petco, actually, I'm gonna bash them for a second. I got hired only because I was Black, which I didn't find out till down the line. You know, and there's certain places that like, they have to have that equal opportunity employer, they have to have that mixed background or race or religion working, so that way it's not deemed as anything else, you know? And that sucks. Yeah, because it shouldn't be like that, you know? And impressionable old me, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a job, great. But I'm like, oh, I'm just here to get the Black vote. And it sucks, it really does, because it's no longer about what I bring to the table. It's more of just what I can do for you. Does that make sense, you know? Yeah, like what box exactly, what box I check, love that. And I'm done checking boxes, you know? It sucks. It's just like, I wish that there can be so much change. And like with me, growing up homeless, I lived everywhere from San Ysidro to East County. And San Ysidro, whew, you know? Try living there for 3 months. It's great. But you know, it's just, there's so many barriers, you know? And it's like, I've been a minority all my life. And I allowed myself to continue to be a minority, which I don't anymore. Yes. You know. And a few years ago, I've come across other races who may be deemed as minority, and they do not, it was more like, how can a minority be racist against others? You know, like, you're racist, your people don't like you, you know? So how does that work? And it just sucks because it's like, instead of everybody being pit against each other, or like, sometimes I feel like the system is set up to allow racism to happen. You know, versus is where you live, versus what school you're bused to, versus what you can afford and what's in your neighborhood and what's not in mine. It's if you look around, it's modern day, you know, and I just want that to not be a thing anymore. It's 2021. You know, if I can be accepted, why can't my race be? So that's all I have.
Questions? Mr. Lee.
Formerly from Orange County, I am. San Diego is a much more lovely place. So I can feel at home here. But you know, these conversations are so important, and I just want to acknowledge you guys for your strength and fortitude to come and share, because this is the kind of thing that has helped inform me as I'm a gay man, which has its own set of things, but I'm recognizing what white privilege is. For instance, I have my beautiful dog here, and I walk her when it's dark outside at 6:30 at night, and I'm in a Hillcrest, and I'm going through and I know that I feel perfectly safe If a policeman drives by, I don't have any reaction. So I just want everybody to know that that's a privilege. And do you have any stories about the police, being engaged with the police, that you didn't feel like you were treated fairly?
Yes, I do.
I thought you might. Thank you.
Thank you as well for your question. And just before I do that, I relate with you because I am a transgender woman, and I do not get welcomed in Hillcrest. I'm pretty sure just the whole spectrum and how that goes. So that's definitely is a privilege. I honestly feel like to be a gay white man, you have all the privileges. And for me, with me and the police, so me and SCPD have a long relationship, unfortunately. You know, I'm not ashamed. I regret it, but I'm not going to hide it. You know, I was a product of my environment, which I allowed to be the excuse as to why I did the things I did. You know, and all I can do is change that and move forward. But, thank you. But yes, definitely, I've actually, this has happened maybe, my niece is 10, so about 8 years ago. I lived in Kearney Mesa, Claremont area, and my brother and his wife, they had a child, and they were out of town, and I was babysitting, and the police came to the doors like 10 p.m., and they snatched me out of the home. They was gonna call CPS, thank God, like the neighbor watched my brother's child for me, and they brought me down to the station and accused me of stealing a GPS. And turned out, well, I was at work during that time, so please, you know, that got me off. Then they sent me a letter like, don't sue us. But it turns out that the neighborhood watch member, volunteer, just didn't like who I was. And, you know, called the police, said, oh, this person did it. And then they came, took me out of my home, like, did the whole 9 detective thing. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, you guys didn't think to, like, check that or fact check that. You just, yep, she did it. And so it sucks because immediately I'm racially profiled, you know? And if I'm anything, I feel like, you know, I get laser hair removal in La Jolla. And so when I go there, I see it still to this day. You know, police drive by, look at me, do a double take, or would get behind me and run my plates and run my name, follow me for a little bit, then, you know, drive away. And it's still heavily present. And as far as racial profiled and police, I honestly, that needs to be a whole class. Like, that needs to be imprinted into the police department, because it's 9 times out of 10, unfortunately, for cases that happen, is because the person was racially profiled, which then led to unfortunate events. You know, and that's the issue. I feel like that needs to be worked on first before we can work on gun control or anything else. Like, let's stop racially profiling people. You know, for this wonderful lady right here, with the events that's happened in the past, you know, like it just sucks because I have a friend who's from the Middle East, and every time she gets on an airplane or anything like that, she feels it, and she tells me about it all the time, you know, and it just sucks because security, police, any kind of law enforcement with power, they're able to get away with racially profiling, you know, and that's a huge problem. You're welcome.
We support the transgender community. I'm going to pick up off of you, Brian, because I would really like to know how we can be supportive and we stand with you, but knowing what I can do to be a part of the solution.
Okay, yes. Okay, so I can't speak for all, I can only speak for myself. So for myself, what I tell friends is just continue to support, you know. Thankfully, I'm in San Diego to where I don't have to worry about, it's a constant fear, you know, but it's like Brazil, other places, Chicago, it's like we're getting gunned down left and right. It's just it's like really bad. And so thankfully I'm in a place to where, you know, I don't have to deal with that or experience that as much. But just continue to support. You know, we just got our transgender rights back, which is crazy in healthcare. It's just like continue to support, continue to be an ally. I know a lot of people who are okay with me because they've known me before and after. but they wouldn't be okay if they seen somebody trans getting beat up. They would just continue to walk down the street. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, be a voice for us. You know, because sometimes it's scary, it's hard, you know? And within the community itself, unfortunately, the stereotype that comes with it is like we're at the bottom of the barrel, you know? Or it's like we're all just sex workers, or like the whole stereotype is not okay as well. So like, all I ask is like, you know, as I'm trying to change the world, help support me in that, you know? Just be a voice, continue to support, be an ally, let your voice be heard with ours. Thank you.
Beautiful. Now I'm doubly blessed. Now that we've all talked, you guys have had an opportunity to talk, I'm just like, oh, this was awesome. Awesome. 3 beautiful women with so much to share, and I really appreciate you sharing it. Really appreciate you sharing it. And I believe Miss Gino's got something now.
I always wanted to be 6 feet, always. So I thought that we would do an observant and reflection process. And so with the stories that you've heard, at first, just take a moment and see what 3 feelings came up for you when you heard these stories. Because one of the gifts of becoming the observer of your thoughts, you know, we all have our biases that sometimes we're asleep to. We just do not know. So just take a moment and take a breath in. And I'm asking everybody on the panel as well to just recognize 3 words of feelings that came up for you. And if you feel comfortable, you can speak that word out. One of the words that came up for me, the feeling, was fear. Shame. And you at home as well. Now the reflection comes. Did you see yourself in any of the stories? Were you someone that overlooked something that was going on? Were you in your silence? Were you the person that it was being targeted to? Sometimes it's happened both ways. But just start to reflect. Just take a moment to reflect where you felt you were in that story or stories. We're getting some chats, which is beautiful. Pat said that she had, it was Pat? Fear, anger, and sadness. Beautiful. And so in that moment of reflection, the story that whatever you saw, however you saw yourself, I will just share briefly that one of my reflections was that I'd been silent. I'd had friends that, I love you, Gino, but would say things about black people or would say things to me, and I would, they didn't really mean it. And so one of the beautiful things about being in this community at Universal Spirit Center is that that was embraced, and it gave me the strength to be able to speak out, to say it's not okay. And so I think when we stand with people, I love this, as my cousin said, their allies is old. Co-conspirator is where we want to be. Because what are you doing to move us forward? And so when you see something, say something. Be it a family or a friend, and it doesn't have to be mean or angry, but to say that that's not acceptable. I think it starts to move us and open us up in a beautiful conversation. So once again, I want to piggyback and say thank each of you ladies for your powerful words and stories. And I know sometimes it feels like, will we ever get up that mountain? Will we ever get up that mountain? I believe and know that we will, because new consciousness is being birthed. And so we don't even have all of the words. And one of the things I have to say that I do love is that it's coming up so much. It's coming up from everything. It's just like this. Yeah. And let's give this panel another big round of applause. And keep it going for wonderful Carolyn Floyd for being an amazing moderator. Whoop, whoop. Carolyn, thank you. We're both on the Racial Equality Project team, and this is part of that presentation, so thank you so much. And next month, we will have stories of racism as well. We have a panel of 3 as well. 3? We have 2 booked in. So I need to get busy. And now is our conscious giving time. It is a joy to celebrate the ideal of giving, the magnificence of abundance, because it is the continuous cycle of well-being that is this divine space called Earth, called life, called evolution. And so I thank Universal Spirit Center for being this divine space of givingness through our global heart community, our tithes that we give out, and to our community for showing up. Thank you for showing up and bringing the babies to the doggies. They were so good, no barking at all. I wanted some roof. Yeah, yip. Who let the dogs out? So yes, and whatever that is that you give, we give it in consciousness first. So the joy, the laughter, the divine abundance of things, of time, of talent. It is a constant giving. We have a basket in the back if you feel inclined. Drop a little something. Hey, flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to and expression of your unfolding love. Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. So there are a lot of things that are going on at Universal Spirit Center. Our webpage is very busy. Always things are happening. And as we prepare to get ready to open, we have a new youth ministry. Johnny, I can't think of Johnny's last name. What? The video. Johnny is our new youth director. Thank you. I was looking for that word, Lee. It was out there. I could see it, but I couldn't pull it in. There's a picture of Johnny. So we're excited to have him on board. As well, we are getting ready to open the doors June 20th. Whoop, 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 whoop. 26. Oh, thank you. And Wednesday, I think it's the 23rd, right? The 23rd, thank you. Wednesday as well, we are open, and we are slowly opening. So we're getting prepared for you, but so excited to be able to have presence of people in person back. Yes, yes, yes. Also, our weekly call to action, part of the Racial Equality Project. If you go on our page, there it is. It's a TED Talk, which is amazing because we're talking about artificial intelligence, how bias, how racism is in our technology. And it's really important. It's a great movie. It's not a techie movie. One of the things I love about Joy, who's spearheading it, this young lady is from MTI school. MIT, it's just all going. And she's a poet. And so it's so cool that you would never think technology, that someone that's so techie could be a poet as well. And it's really beautiful when you hear her rap in algorithm in poetry. It's mind-blowing. So that's our movie of the month. And this Friday, we meet in our community room to unpack it, to talk about it. But I really encourage you, check out Coded Bias. It's on Netflix. I think you can also see it on YouTube. Really powerful to understand our responsibility to make sure that our technology is governed properly. And did I hit them all, Sarah? I think there's one more. Oh, the most important one. As we get ready to open up, we're looking for our setup and tear down team. Whoop, whoop. So please contact Lee at Universal Spirit Center. Bob Moseyes really wants that help. We all want him to have that, and so we need that. So think about that. If that's called to you, we'd love to have you there as well. So let us take a breath as we get ready to bring this evening to a close. Thank you, Sarah Adams. Reverend Sarah ran the production. Whoop, whoop. And of course, our beautiful Linda Ely back there on the music. So awesome. We just thank you all. Thank you for your time and your space. And once again, to these amazing women that have stepped forward to share their stories, to get naked, as I call it, to get naked and share, because it's through that we all start to see how we can participate. So I thank you. Thank you for being at Kitchen Conversations. This upcoming week on Awakening Wednesday, we have one of our very own, the almost Reverend Zena, will be in the house live and in person. So I look forward to seeing you there as well. All right. Good. I'm like, what song are we doing? Holy, holy. I was like, what? All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy. All one, holy, holy. We are all one, holy, holy. All in my mind and my heart and my soul. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy.